This is Seasons of Discontent with your hosts Rick Snyder and Matt Combs on the Hogstein Network.
Welcome to Seasons of Discontent, Season 7, Episode 36, brought to you by Rick Snyder's Washington on YouTube and other social media. I'm Rick Snyder.
I'm Matt.
And we're back discussing all things Washington sports and life as part of the mighty Hogstein Network on audio, if you're listening there, or video here on YouTube. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, and you hit that thanks button. All right, so Washington Commanders have now gone a month without winning. Perfect down the stretch run. And after losing the 49ers, which last week we said pretty much they weren't going to match up well, I think the 49ers might be the best team, at least in the NFC right now. So I wasn't too surprised by a shellacking. I was surprised it was 7.5, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But when they hit the Jets, man, that was it. And now everybody's tearing the team down. 2 games to go. They could still make the playoffs, but I don't know who's the quarterback yet as we tape this. And now we're even fighting about mascots and all. I mean, it's just a real S show once again. Welcome to Washington.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much said that they were going to go out there and lose to the 49ers. They kept it competitive. I'll give them that. But, you know, we've always talked about the roller coaster that is Taylor Heinicke, and that's exactly what we got this game. He did some good and he did some really bad. I mean, he's had some pretty bad games the last couple of games, you know, especially with the turnovers and stuff like that. You know, who really do you put that on? Do you put that on the offensive line? Is he holding the ball too long? Are the receivers not getting open? You know, realistically, you could pass the blame around the entire offense. Yeah, honestly, Rick, we had heard before the game that Taylor was on a short leash, so I was not surprised to see Wentz.
Oh, yeah, I predicted Wentz would finish the game on radio because you could see what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
I figured it'd be third or fourth quarter, and that's what it was. I don't know. Taylor is, as I have said for 2 years now, is a great short-term spot reliever starter, but not your franchise quarterback because he has limitations. And I know his stats aren't bad. Everybody likes to look at that, but, you know, stats don't define Taylor anyway. It's more of a dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know, can do things that stats don't show. But stats aren't bad. They really didn't play that badly in the first half. But, man, you know, the line, you know, the turnovers are causing it. I mean, if you put Taylor behind a really good line, he'd be fine. You know, he'd be Mark Rippon, something like that. But they don't have a good line. They're going to have to blow that whole thing up. If they come back with 5 new starters next year, I'd say fine, except you can't do that because you can't get enough guys. But they might come back with 3, and that's killing this team. But now they want to go to Heinicke too. And Ron today danced around it, but I was sure tomorrow he's going to say Wentz is the starter.
Yeah.
And no matter what happens, people want Hal for some reason. I'm like, dude, you're still in a playoff fight. You know, the fourth quarter of a bad last game loss, put him in, whatever. But he's not seeing the field this year. It's Heinicke or Hal. Right now, I think Heinicke
or Wentz. Hal's not seeing the field.
Yeah, Hal's not seeing the field. Right now, I think Wentz gives them the best chance to win. I know it doesn't always show up in the stats, and I know he's a statue and online, a lot of things, but you're not winning with Taylor. So you got to change your luck.
Yeah. And pretty much everybody agrees. We ran a poll yesterday. 76% of the people say it's going to be Wentz. And I tend to agree. You're right. Taylor comes in, he has 4 or 5 game stretches where he's just that guy. He's got, like they say, he's got that dog in him. He just goes out there and he finds a way to win. But as you and I both have talked about in the past, the Heinicke horseshoe eventually runs out. And it seems like that golden horseshoe is starting to become a little tarnished. So, yeah, I mean, Heinicke will never be a starter in this league. We know that. He's not a 16, 17 game starter. He just, it's too much of a roller coaster ride, especially for this team that is in a playoff hunt. Hey, you know what? Turn back to Wentz, see what you got. Wentz ain't gonna be here next year either, so I'm not worried about that. I still think his fate is sealed. But yeah, I mean, you got to go out and you got to beat Cleveland. I mean, look, Rick, there's clinching. They have a chance to clinch the playoffs. They have to go out and beat Cleveland. and Green Bay and Detroit both have to lose, I believe.
Yeah, it's still a little complicated. Basically, win your last two, you're in.
Yeah.
Even if you win one, it's still possible. And I could see the last game of the season maybe being a Sunday night football game against Dallas. If Philly loses again this week, then Dallas could take the NFC East by winning too. And that, Dallas Washington's a big ratings win for the networks, more than Green Bay, Detroit, or in Tennessee game. I mean, so it's still possible that could happen. I personally don't like it because I get home at two in the morning. But Heineke, I looked at my quarterback rankings since Mark Rippon, since the team has finished the last Super Bowl. And I put Heineke at number 10 because it shows you how bad it is. I started with Rippon, Brad Johnson, Cousins, Smith, Alex Smith in short term, Trent Green, Jason Campbell, RG3, Farrat, Burnell. And then I went to Heineke over Gannon. And then I went to Wentz. So I had both of them there because afterwards it's a real show after that. It goes bad. I mean, you have to even remember Garrett Gilbert's name, and he's not even at the bottom of my list. He's about 10 guys off the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
So who's the worst quarterback in the last 30 years?
I have no idea.
I know it's not that easy either.
I mean, you can say, why am I blanking on his name? He's a senator or a congressman.
Oh, you're talking about Heath?
Oh, Heath Schuler.
Oh, no, I got it number 20.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, running your head into the wall and breaking your neck and essentially ending your career. Or no, wait, that was Farrat, wasn't it?
No, I have my last one is John Beck, who Shanahan guaranteed his reputation could play well. Well, he's gone. Above him, I had Mark Sanchez. Man, that was a bad one too. That guy Johnson who came in and won a game, he's still in the league. That dude, I give him credit, man.
Yeah, he's a backup quarterback in LA.
Hey, good for you. You're still collecting money. He's never given up. I always liked that about him. He was a good guy. He's not even near the bottom. I mean, the Haskins was an awful one. Fitzpatrick, well, I got to put him on the list. He played, a couple quarters.
He played a quarter?
About a quarter and a half. Yeah. I mean, it's just, woo. So when we look at Heineke and Wentz, these are the highlight days of the last 30 years. I hate to tell people, but there's a lot better than a lot of days they had. So,
hey, let me ask you this. Is the best quarterback that we've seen in the Snyder era probably Brad Johnson?
Yeah, because Rippon would be the only one I have better. Brad was it, but Snyder wanted Jeff George, and that didn't last 5 minutes.
Yeah, because I mean, let's not forget Brad Johnson did go to Tampa and win a Super Bowl after he left the Redskins.
I know. I mean, I have Cousins third, and Cousins, was like a 4,000-yard guy, keeps putting it up. So people, when they want to look at what's happening in this team, and they want to lose out or whatever craziness, this is a year in the NFC that a wild card team could get to the Super Bowl, because if San Francisco probably gets the top seed, 2 would be probably Minnesota. Washington can beat Minnesota. They blew it last time, but they could beat them this time maybe, because Minnesota is just. I know you can't say it's lucky once you're like 12-3, but man, they live on the edge of everything. You could knock them out in the playoffs.
Yeah, what is it? The Kirk and the Vikings have like 8 fourth quarter comebacks this year or something like that. It's something ridiculous. I mean, we saw what they did against Indianapolis. They should have lost that game. They got crushed by the Cowboys. I think it was 40-3 that game. But Rick, I will say this, they have the best wide receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson. They've got a decent defense that can create turnovers when they need to. And as long as Kirk plays at 1 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, he's going to be the best quarterback in the league. You get him outside of that 1 o'clock window on a Sunday, that's when it gets a little iffy.
Yeah, I mean, that would be where the Vikings are seriously jockeying for position. We want to play during the day.
I mean, realistically, do the Eagles really don't scare anybody, I don't think. I mean, yeah, they're good, but what is Hurts' injury? He hurt his shoulder. He did not play against the Cowboys. So,
yeah, probably won't play until
the playoffs.
Yeah. So, and they may lose that first round bye if they, get knocked off of that top one. So the Eagles, Washington can beat the Eagles. They can beat Minnesota. I don't think they can beat San Francisco, but that's down the road. They wouldn't play them for a while anyway. They wouldn't probably play them the way it's going until the NFC Championship game, if that were to happen. So this is a year that you just try and figure out, get in the playoffs and worry about the rest later. And they may need it. You lose these 2 games, you shouldn't lose to Cleveland, although Cleveland is one of those teams that won 6 games. But honestly, they lost a handful of woulda, couldas. They could have been a 10-win team with some luck.
Well, and let's not forget that they didn't have their $245 million contract quarterback for the first 11 games either.
Yeah. I mean, they're starting to show up. So I go for it. I mean, they could lose to Cleveland. And if they do, then I know Dallas is a loss on there. It'd be really interesting to see how many fans are at the stadium because I don't know how many Cleveland fans will come. They usually travel well, but not with a 6-9 team. So I don't know.
Won't everybody be turning out for the big mascot reveal?
Okay, so hog or dog, which way are you riding?
Well, it's clearly Hogs. Dan Snyder's being sued by the original Hogs.
I mean, today this all comes out. You just shake your head sometimes at this organization. But okay, we knew it would be Hogs that they're going to name at halftime to be their mascot. I happen to think mascots are stupid, but whatever. And because they're inviting the Hogettes to come. And I thought, well, what about the Hogs? Well, Hogs are a little upset. They're not making any money. I mean, Rigo especially is the one behind this more, and Jacoby. They want something. Now, the trademark expired. I'm not a lawyer, but I just don't see their case for 2 reasons. One, they didn't create the term. Joe Jacoby did, and he's dead. 2, he did it as part of an employee of an organization. And if you create something while working full time for a group, the rights revert to them, so, and they say, well, we're going to get the trademark soon. Well, it ain't in your hand at the moment. So, there's a pretty weak case, but they were thinking people are getting paid. They're going to be doing merchandise. They're going to be doing merchandise. They want a taste of it. Everybody else is getting rich. And these guys played long ago that they didn't get paid the money like now. I mean, they do okay in life, but they're not rich. I don't blame them. And I know that there's been talks about this between the team and the Hogs. And it didn't have to get to this position. But the problem is Snyder's people stopped talking to them because Snyder's selling the team. So there's a bunch of business that suddenly has been left open because this owner is getting out. That's all. Now especially the bids of first round of bids came in. I think this will go a little quicker than I thought it would. But he's probably thinking, let the next guy worry about this. So the Hogs aren't coming and everybody's yelling. And I thought, what a stupid thing. Of all the stupid things we yell about, this is down the bottom of my list.
But it's just another feather in the cap. You know what I mean? It's just another feather in the cap of Dan Snyder because, I mean, I think we talked about it last show. They finally fixed the statue / mannequin of Sean Taylor. It took them 2 weeks to do that. They just can't get anything right. And I hate to say it, but this is where Bruce Allen flourished with these homecoming events and bringing back the alumni. He was the connection to the alumni where he could get these guys together and say, hey, the mascot of the team is now a hog. You guys are the Hogs. Come back. We're going to honor you guys with this mascot. But yeah, I just think, honestly, Rick, this is probably all the years of frustration that these guys have had with Dan Snyder. And it's just a last little dig at him as he is on his way out the door. And we did talk about, or you did mention, he apparently flew to North Carolina to meet with Bank of America and go over potential bidders and stuff like that. But the Dan Snyder tracker on Twitter, I don't know if you've seen that. His plane flew to London today and he's getting back on his yacht. So he's gone.
And we got to get out of here too, unfortunately. I'm Rick Snyder.
I'm Matt.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Seasons of Discontent on the Hogstye Network.